Hello and welcome to Sea of Nerves, the show that provides the lifeboat on the journey to healing our mind, body, and spirit from chronic disorders. Our practices throughout this podcast will support your own worthiness and love, so you have a whole sea of nerves to be yourself throughout this healing journey we're about to embark on together. Welcome. I'm your host, Darian. In today's episode, we'll discuss denial of the self and ways we can find our way back to inner self-love. We'll discuss the ins and outs of our mind, body, and spirit, and offer listeners motivational hacks to get you started or keep you evolving on your unique healing path. Before we get started, let's just take a few deep breaths together. Let's set an intention and get acquainted with this step. So let's breathe in. Sorry for my stuffy nose. And exhale. With a little bit of laugh. Do this a few more times just at your own pace and pause this podcast if you need a little more time. All right, now that we're acquainted more with our breath, I want to dive into our main point, which is denial in the self. And bringing up denial of the self, I want to focus on a point where, as a society, we are working backwards. And hear me out on this. As someone who used to suffer with bulimia and anorexia from horrible, mean comments made to me about body shaming me and, utilizing that turnover into becoming a personal trainer. And then I got diagnosed, right, with this chronic disorder of dystonia. And it's not until I got diagnosed that I realized I was maybe working on my mind, definitely my body, 100%, but I gave no room for my spirit. And I really want to dive deep into this on why in our social tendency do we all need to go, oh, I got to lose 10 pounds. I need to work on my body. Oh gosh, I need to do this. I need to lose all this. Like half, maybe 60% of us. And I'm going off some statistics around some research. It's not anything I put together statistically in a research standard, but I would say guaranteed 60% of us concentrate on our health. And health meaning I need to eat better and I need to work out. And in my opinion, those are the last two things we need to focus on. I mean, don't get me wrong. We need to focus on them, but like I said, maybe the last things we need to focus on. What if we let our bodies tell us what we wanted to do for a workout? What if you just wanted to walk around your neighborhood and you felt okay with that? And you should feel okay with that because it's still a workout. But in today's standards, you have to go to the gym, you have to do all this cardio, and you have to look like a bodybuilder. From a former bodybuilder, let me tell you, having that doesn't solve your inner self-love. Having that physique, you can go shoot for the moon and have it all you want, but if you don't fix that inner self-love, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be right where I am. Not saying you're going to be sick or have a movement disorder. I'm saying you're going to end up feeling not fulfilled after you conquered that dream, which I didn't. I mean, I felt awesome. I conquered it, right? It's a good achievement, and I'm proud of that accomplishment. But did it fix who I felt inside? No. I looked the best I've looked in my life. And someone who came from anorexia and bulimia, who had body shaming issues, I barely touched the tip of appreciating my body. And this is my message for those who are listening today. If you have a health goal of losing weight, please lose weight to want to feel better. Or if you're losing weight, maybe sit with it, or whatever you're doing for your health goals. I'm just picking, but whatever your health goals are, see if you really want that. Maybe you love your body how it is right now, but you're trying to make yourself go, I need to look like so-and-so, and comparing to everybody on social media or everyone around you. Just try to lose that comparison, because no one's going to be you. No one's going to be uniquely you. And they're not going to have this body of yours. And nor should you obtain a body like theirs. That's sheep mentality, because a bunch of sheep just they're going to look alike, and they're just going to follow each other. Don't be the sheep. Be the wolf. Be the wolf. Come out of the pack and go, I'm making my own way because I'm unique. No matter where you sit, chronic disorder, non-chronic disorder, just know you are unique right now, how you are. You're worthy right now, how you are. And most importantly, you're important right now, how you are. And it goes into why do we want to keep the spirit last? Why is it as a general society that we're trying to keep the spirit last? And I'm going to tell you why. It's the most scariest. It's the scariest one to work on. And that's where Sea of Nerves is here for you, because if you think of yourself as a body of ocean, or just an ocean is scary, right? I mean, they're even talking about how NASA gave up on finding things down in the sea. It's so deep. It's so deep. And that's how our souls are. And that's how we should represent ourselves to society, is this depth soul, because that's exactly what we are. And it takes a whole sea of those nerves inside you, part of that nervous system, to make it one hell of a ride, because you are one hell of a ride. You deserve everything you want, regardless of what anyone has said to you. And that goes back into our spirits. As children, we grow up watching our parents or guardians or loved ones or any adults who surrounded us. And with that said, I didn't even realize this until I was diagnosed and I had time to dive into what was happening in my life. And I want to help people not feel like you have to get a chronic disorder or something happening to you to feel like you can have a breakthrough through your inner self-love. Because I feel a lot of us have these breakthroughs when we go and experience something painful as a chronic disorder. And so, being said, this intent is to help you find that self-love while you're maybe dealing with any kind of pain. Maybe it's just grief. Maybe it's grief of losing someone. Maybe that's chronic pain as well. I like to label grief as chronic pain because half the time we don't have enough time to even get over our griefs. We're right back into the work 9 to 5 mentality, and we don't take time to really focus on the grief that's driving us, actually. It's not your desires driving, it's your grief driving, and grief is what ends up making you shame yourself. That's that part of you that's shaming you. It's the grief that hasn't been able to let go. So going back to when I mentioned the weight, health, and all of that, to think that more than 60% of us haven't worked on our spirit and we're focused on our outside image, shows how a lot of us are holding grief on our hearts. Because, as I said, we're working on our bodies, then our mind, and then our spirits. And I want to help you be able to work backwards to front, because that's the ultimate way to do it. And the reason why is the denial in self starts heavily within the self. And as I referenced before, our bodies are like the ocean, and we have a surface and we have waves that crash on the surface. And then we have this giant ball of mystery that lays underneath that surface. And there's, for us, there's where our trauma, triggers, grief, things you probably didn't know were there, that's there. And you have to be willing to take that dive right into it to be able to focus on that denial. And if we're able to take that dive into that giant ball of mystery, that's where we find where I referenced before of our childhood, of the adults that surrounded us. And it taught us how to grow up. And unfortunately, if you're like me with growing pains, you kind of delay in growing up. And not on purpose, of course, but because of the trauma we have stored. And when I say grow up, I mean we don't even think to break down the structure that once served us. That maybe you have a trauma that once served you as a child that had made you feel safe, and you're still referring to that, but you don't need that anymore because you are safe. And it comes back again to that spirit. It comes back to those stored traumas, triggers, and the grief that we have. That's what it comes down to. And that's when I talk about spirit. There's a lot that you have to slowly uncover, and it's painful. It's very, very painful. It's not easy. And I'm not saying that it's gonna be easy. And I think that's what a lot of the successful people talk about, is the hard work they do. It's not the physical hard work they do. And it's what they don't want to tell you is it's the mental hard work they do. The mental of diving deep into yourself and realizing, hey, there's something wrong here on why I don't believe in myself. There's something wrong here on why I say I want to gain 10 pounds, but I'm not gaining 10 pounds. I'm not gaining 10 pounds because I don't believe in myself. It's not because something's wrong with my body. It's because I don't believe in it. And that's why I am starting us from the spirit, working us towards a better mentality and then a better body. And that's where we're going to find inner self-love, success, and ultimately healing and well-being. I know this was a shallow dive as we begin this quest to ascend further into the depths of our true selves, to serve as a gentle reminder that when things get too deep, resurface, climb back aboard our lifeboat of safety. I'll be with you the entire way. To conclude our first episode, I want to paraphrase an important quote from Jen Sincero in her book, You're a Badass at Making Money. In this book, she states, one of the coolest gifts we have to help us is our imagination, the kind where we take ingredients from the spirit realm and bring them to life. Imagination doesn't rely on physical circumstances, our five senses, or anything our parents told us in order to succeed in this life. Which finishes my point, working from the spirit first. In our next episode of Sea of Nerves, we identify the structures we put in place, expectations we might not be able to live up to, or is no longer serving us, or is meant for our new structure. We will learn, don't escape, but rebuild. Make sure to tap that follow button to stay updated on our episode 2 release date. And until then, Much love, friends. And remember, you are worthy just as you are right now.